stormwater is natural and you can't stop it. So you have to find a way for it to have a home without impacting the lives of the people who live here. I'm Yvonne McCaskill. I'm the coordinator of the Century City Triangle Neighborhood Association, which is an all-resident-led, all-volunteer organization.
When doctors were noticing the increase in flooding in the neighborhood due to the increase in impervious surfaces, they started seeing that an asthma inhaler to someone that was going back home to a flooded basement where there was mold wasn't the best solution. It was a Band-Aid. My name is Stephanie Mercado and I work for 16th Street Community Health Centers in the Department of Environmental Health and Community Wellness.
What happens when this flooding is coming down in these poor neighborhoods where concrete has been laid over a swamp in reality? What they can't do is mediate the results of the flooding. So it comes in, it's toxic mold, it ruins people's homes, their furniture. That's what needs to be mediated. My name is Brenda Coley. I am the co-executive director of Milwaukee Water Commons. It's really a cross-neighborhood, cross-cultural, environmental justice focused on water.
When those big flood situations happened, their basements did flood. So I remember, us taking stuff out of the basement and putting on the sides, be thrown away. And people just really feeling like, what's that about? You buy a house and then there's no warning about this, and did you know to get flooding insurance? I'm Stephen Hunter with Nearby Nature Milwaukee. We focus on connecting the Lincoln Creek Greenway and the 30th Street corridor in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is predominantly African American, to those spaces of nature.
A lot of this area was wetlands. And of course, what we did is we built a lot of stuff on the wetlands. And so water wants to go to the lowest point. And this is one of the lowest points. And when we had that tremendous rain, it had nowhere to go but to the lowest point. Unfortunately, there were homes there, and there was nothing else to catch it but basements, homes, because it overwhelmed the system.
The water level rises so fast in the Kinnickinnic River that it gets up to whitewater rafting speeds, and it can even touch the pedestrian bridges. So that's led to deaths. That's led to people slipping in and falling.
Well, even then, there were people who had lived in this area for many, many years, like individuals who had lived here for 30, 40 years. And because of the tremendous flooding, it impacted the foundations of the homes. Those people had to move. And it was devastating because they had put their lives into their homes.
That's an environmental injustice. The water goes down, but the catastrophe remains.
It just exacerbated the idea that Lincoln Creek is just a sewage canal because of what was in your basement at that point. It overflows, and of course the sewage overflows. And I'm like, oh, it stinks, it's that damn creek, And it's like, no, that's not the creek per se.
Now people look at the river, especially within the Black and Latino communities, as someplace that we need to fear. So this is quality of life.
The sewage district and the city did start having these community engagement sessions where the community would become involved in the design of areas like this, what they would like to see in it, what it would help do to improve the quality of life as it not only relates to stormwater management, but just as it relates to living in an area that's prone to flooding.
So we believe that in order to come up with the just solutions and sustainable solutions, we must have everybody at the table. So the academics were talking about it, business interests were talking about it, government was talking about it, but the community didn't have a role in that. So Milwaukee Water Commons started by conducting interviews across the community, making sure at that time in 2016 that it was multiracial and multicultural, and asked people what did they expect from a water-centric city.
We're trying to demystify and uncover and, disentangle all of that for people in the neighborhood now.
People are beginning to understand the value of water, not as so much as a resource. We see it as a friend. So I think that that's very, very important that people in these communities know that they belong at that water and that that water belongs to them. They have this gift right in the middle of their community, and they have a right to enjoy it. So dechanneling it so that the ecosystem can thrive is going to be very significant for generations to come.
And there definitely is a different feel about it, talking to people in the neighborhood about Lincoln Creek, because it is naturalized and there's green and there's birds and, you know, the other animals that, you know, come through.
Last year was our grand opening where they finally removed the concrete. Residents were able to choose the style of the bridge. They were able to choose the colors of the playground. They were able to change some unused tennis courts and turn them into futsal courts. Residents meet at that pavilion every month and continue to be one of the most important voices in this whole project and this redevelopment of the river.
People want to know that they are connected and can make a contribution to the health of nature. And I think that's a shift in this community.
Overall, it's just been the power of leveraging community voice and what that does not only to the organizations that are listening to it, but to the residents themselves, the confidence that it builds, the ability to create other projects. I think that's been the beauty of this project specifically. Like, it was originally intended to be one thing, and it turned out to be so many other things and leveraged so many other investments and really looked to residents as the experts.
Any of our self-worth is in what we know we can contribute that is valued. So making those spaces, those access points, it's like, oh, what I do matters. Okay, that counts. Self-worth goes up, right? Yeah.
Innovation and a solution to these big problems of the environment, of climate. The innovation is at the community level.
And yeah, giving residents the confidence that if they are seeing problems, they are the experts, right? Like they can push projects to be more than that they had originally intended to be.
Right.
Unfortunately, it came from flooding, right? But hopefully that'll go away soon.